Hello again, fellow YouTubers and fellow Bond fans. Solomon Pleasant here, back for another James Bond review. What? Another review? Yes, I spam the heck out of these reviews, so deal with it. Anyway, so we are already on our 7th review, and as you saw from my last one, James Bond wasn't doing the best that he could be. Granted, all Bond films are pure gold, but that's besides the point. And technically speaking, as well as the story, last time we saw Bond, he wasn't doing so well. His wife just got murdered, and he's a bit pissed now. So, having that said, I guess we've started the premise, so let's dive right into our 7th review, Diamonds Are Forever. So, as usual, we start with story. And the story, technically, starts out pretty much how the last film left off. Bond is looking for Blofeld, and he's going to kill Blofeld. It's very simple, and you can understand why, because the last film showed Blofeld driving a car as Emma Bunt technically killed Tracy, so when you think about it, he should be pissed at Emma Blunt, or Bunt or whatever, but considering she's not in this movie, Bond can only go after Blofeld. Again, I don't know what happened to Emma Bunt, so I have absolutely no clue what they were thinking with this. I guess she got away with murder. Look at that. But anyway, Bond is searching through these countries, trying to find Blofeld and whatnot, and he finally does. And while he's about to go and attack Blofeld, Blofeld actually explains why he looks different this time. Granted, in the last one he looked different as well, but he didn't have the eye scar or anything, made absolutely no sense. This time it actually explains because he's going through plastic surgery. See, that makes more sense. You could have just put that in on Her Majesty's Secret Service and it would have made just about as equal amount of sense. It really would have, but you didn't. Gotta stop talking about the last one. This is Diamonds Are Forever. Anyway, so after Bond kills Blofeld, he then has to go to uncover a diamond smuggling ring that's left a couple people dead, and he basically goes to Las Vegas to figure out who is behind all this. Shocker, it's Blofeld, but we'll talk about that later. Spoilers. The story is actually very good. It again, doesn't have to do with nuclear stuff. No, it's just a diamond smuggling operation. Granted, Blofeld's plan is basically make a satellite with a bunch of somehow diamonds work into a satellite, and then he holds the world ransom, and he's just like, yeah, I got a satellite, I can strike any of y'all's, but considering he's on an oil rig, he seems pretty, vulnerable, but that's besides the point. The story itself is actually really good, and again, it's another original one, which is something you gotta give Bond series credit. It doesn't deal with nuclear missiles as much as it could be doing. So, for that reason, I give story a star, because it's, again, really original. Now we move on to scenery. Scenery is again really nice. Most of this takes place in Las Vegas, and Vegas looks like Vegas. It's what you would expect Las Vegas to look like. It looks exactly like that. Now, granted, there are some other scenes, and those scenes also look really nice, but for the most part, the scenery is just really good, and it looks just genuinely really good. There's a lot of stuff to look at, and there's a lot of things to look at and everything, and it just is very visually stimulating. The oil rig looks like an awesome place for a final fight scene. The final scene on the boat is okay, too. Everything's just really good. So, for that reason, I give scenery a star as well. Next, we got follow-up. As if that was really that hard. Because let's be honest, it's really easy to follow up on Her Majesty's Secret Service. It really is. With how much George Lazenby killed the last film, it was easy to follow up. You didn't even have to throw Connery in there. We'll talk about that in a second, but it was easy to follow up, and they followed up exponentially. It did really well. And Grant Diamonds Are Forever is not one of my favorite films, but it's still a good film. It's somewhere in the middle, I think. So for that reason, I give that a star, because it followed up it was easy to follow up, so it's kind of giving a free point, almost. Next we got theme song. This theme song is okay. I'm not a total particular fan of this. I'm on the fence about this one because it's a little boring. It's a little it's a little bit good, yet a little bit bad. I think the thing that really helps me here is the lyrics. The lyrics creep me the heck out because this woman's saying about how diamonds are better than men. It's just like, what do you all do with those diamonds exactly? Because the way she's talking about these diamonds, it's like, are you, like, getting a sexual thrill out of this or something? Which, that wouldn't surprise me in a Bond film, but you think that'd be from, it's just creepy. It's like, I'm gonna leave you and your diamonds alone for a couple of hours. You and your diamonds can go get a room, ma'am. And just, I don't even want to begin to know what you do with those diamonds. So, I think that's what helps kind of determine where this goes. So for that reason, I give theme song half a star because, I don't want to know. I just don't want to know. Finally, we got characters. Now we can talk about characters. First, Sean Connery, in his last appearance as Bond, he will be missed. Where were you in the last one? No, not going to talk about that. He still does really good. Granted, Connery has aged clearly a bit. You can clearly see that in this film, but he still does good because Sean Connery is awesome as Bond. Ding. He just does a really good job. He always does. And it's a shame that this is the last one he was in. I would have loved to see what he would have done in some of the other films, but he was getting old and he kind of wanted to do some more things. Granted, he could have stayed for On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Nope, not going to talk about that. I discussed that enough in my last review. Other characters. Bond girls. There are two. One of them gets killed, which is kind of a shame. And then the other one is like Tiffany K. She's kind of annoying. For some reason, the American Bond girls seem to be, like, annoying. I don't know why that is. I have absolutely no idea why anyone would have ill feelings towards Americans or Americans being annoying. Anyway, so they're just okay. Technically, you consider these two. I'm gonna save them for henchmen. Anyway, you got Q Branch, who's in there for a small amount of time, and I think Q does an okay job in this film. M's in there, This is, for a couple of these films, Q Branch is there. I just don't remember as much about them because they just weren't there that much. So that's kind of the way it is for a couple of films, actually. But they did okay. There's Willard White. He's there for a little bit. I guess you could consider him a sidekick, and he's an okay sidekick. He doesn't die. I mean, he was just okay. Let's get into villains and henchmen. Blofeld is another villain. Basically, we have 3 movies in a row where Blofeld is a villain, and this one he does as good as he did in You Only Live Twice. Those two are on par. And again, this one has a little bit of a doppelganger feel to it as well because he had like clones and whatnot, so there was that. But he did a good job as villain. Here's one thing though, and at the climax where Blofeld is escaping on his Bezos sub or something, Bond just crashes him into the building, and then we never hear if he dies or not. There's a little homage to him in, I think For Your Eyes Only, and we'll talk about that later, but I don't recall if he actually survived. And also, another weird thing, I heard somewhere that there was supposed to be a different fight scene where it was going to take place and Bond was actually going to finish Blofeld off on camera. Something with a salt mine or something. Thank you to... I'll put the link in the description to what channel actually told me that, and thank you for that, because I didn't know that, actually. And he's right, that would have sounded so much better if you had a climax with Blofeld. But no, it's just like, haha, we're playing Wrecking Ball with a human inside. It was just very anticlimactic. There's a little homage again for Yours Only. We'll talk about that film later. But Blofeld was still a really good villain, even though he had a pretty crappy send-off, if you think so. Now for the henchmen. There are a good amount of henchmen in this film. There's a couple henchmen that just kind of get killed off. The henchmen that really stick out for me are the two female guards, Bambi and Thumper, I think. Kind of weird name choice there. And they fight Bond, and then Bond defeats them by smothering them underwater, I think. Well, geez, Bond. Jeez. And they were okay. The two henchmen that stand out for me, though, are Mr. Wint and Mr. Kidd. These guys just stand out because of how, like... just, they are different. And they are clearly on my top 10 henchmen list because they are just awesome. Now, there was somewhere where it was stated that they are technically supposed to be gay, and I don't care. I don't care whatsoever. I don't care if they're gay or straight. It doesn't matter. They still have a good performance. And, every time they kill somebody, or have killed somebody and then somebody else asks where they are, they have like a little one-liner. I'm just like, oh, buzzing, you guys, buzzing. And they just have these little one-liners, and I'm just like, buzzing. You think Connery would be doing them, but no, it's these two. And it's just, it kind of helps the film. It really does help the film. And their deaths are actually pretty, painful when you think about it. What, Mr. Kidd, I can't remember. One of them gets set on fire and falls off the boat. The other one jumps off the boat with a bomb between his legs, and he blows up. So that's pretty violent, actually. Bond disposed of those two pretty well. And they actually lasted throughout the whole movie, and they kind of wanted to get revenge. First henchman to actually get revenge when you really look at it. Most of the other henchmen die before the main villain do. These two didn't. So they were pretty good. All in all, the characters worked really well. Some are forgettable, some aren't. Again, Sean Connery is Bond. Mr. Wint and Mr. Kidd are just awesome. They just buzzing, and Blofeld's in it, so all in all, you got a lot of good characters and a lot of okay characters. There's no real bad characters, so for that reason, I give characters a star. So that totals out to... what is it? 9.5? I think it's 9.5. My math was wrong on the You Only Live Twice thing, so I'm trying to make sure. 9.5. Yep. So that totals out to 9.5 or 4.5 for those you keeping track at home. And it's Diamonds Are Forever was a good way for Sean Connery to end it. Quite frankly, if I were to choose a film for Sean Connery to end on, I would choose Goldfinger to be the last film Sean Connery would have done. Maybe throw all the other films. Quite frankly, I think if Sean Connery would have done On Her Majesty's Secret Service, I think this film would have also had a better impact and probably would have been a greater way to send off Sean Connery as Bond. He did great for these 6 films. Goldfinger would have been the way to end off, but if he would have... here's my thought. If Sean Connery would have been in the OHMSS mission, he would have learned to grasp the role and feel the connection with the Mary character that was killed. That way, he could have taken that emotion and put that into the beginning of his next performance, and every time he's seen Blofeld afterwards, he would have been able to put that emotion in there, thus making a better performance. But considering Connery wasn't in that last film, he was kind of just like, oh, it's Blofeld, I remember you from You Only Live Twice, you tricky devil. But no, he should be feeling, you horrible person, you kill my wife, I am gonna kill you. He should have been feeling that the whole time, but he didn't. Which is technically Sean's fault, but at the same time, you can't fully blame him, but maybe you can, I don't remember. So, still a great way to send Sean off. Diamonds Are Forever is not one of his best films, but it's still really good. I guess that's all I can say, and this has been Solomon Pleasant. What are we reviewing next time? Alright. Roger Moore is stepping into the arena, everybody. Roger Moore is stepping into the arena with, my personal opinion, his best film as Bond. Let's do this. This has been Solomon Pleasant, and I will see you next time with Live and Let Die. Aw, yeah.